Hello, everyone. It is my great honor to chair of this session one about the smart shipping and port. My name is Jinsu Park. Thank you, the MC, for introducing me. Session one consists of 4 papers. The order is Hong Ban Nguyen from Vietnam Maritime University, and Hwang Ji-kwong from Vietnam Maritime University, and Tai Chong Lun from National Taiwan Ocean University, and Min Pong Nguyen from Vietnam Maritime University. The president should make a presentation within 10 minutes, and after each presentation, there will be a Q&A session within 5 minutes. For questions, please use the window chat or raise your hand. Due to time constraint, we will accept only 1 or 2 questions. Now let's start with Professor Hong Ban Nguyen from Vietnam Maritime University.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we Associate Professor Dr. Nguyễn Hồng Vân and Ms. Hoàng Thị Khánh Huyền from Vietnam Maritime University are pleased to convey warmest greeting to National Korea Maritime and Ocean University, partner institutions, and all participants of the AMFUF 2021. Ms. Huyền is a co-author in writing this article, and she is very happy and would like to present this article. Ms. Huyền, please.
Yes. On the behalf of the author, I would like to present our paper research about the effects of COVID-19 pandemic on the competitiveness of shipping companies in Vietnam, a case study of transportation and trading service John Stock Company in Hải Phòng City, Vietnam. Next, please. Our presentation includes 5 main content. The first is introduction. The second is literature review. The third is research methods. The fourth is research results, case study of Transco. And the last is conclusion. Next, please. First, we go to the introduction. Vietnam and many region countries are in the process of integration and globalization. However, there are still many difficulties for shipping companies face competition in shipping market. Economic crisis, instability of the fuel price, especially COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic has the production and the economic growth slow down. Many enterprises. Next, please. Next, please. Yes. Moreover, the detrimental influence of COVID-19 pandemic on the international cargo shipping. Freight transport by sea were almost disrupted. Several ports have to be postponed. Freight trades also changed erratically, and more than hundreds of container ship voyages were cancelled. As you can see in the slide, the number of new COVID-19 cases in the August of 2021 of Vietnam increased very quickly, with a peak of over 17 new cases per day. The current COVID-19 pandemic is so complicated, which detrimentally affect Vietnam shipping company in general and Transco in particular. Although the company has tried its best, it still faces many difficulties in improving its competitiveness. Therefore, it is very urgent and necessary to research the effect of COVID-19 pandemic on the competitiveness of shipping company in Vietnam. A case study of transportation and trading service John Stock Company, Transco in Hải Phòng City, Vietnam. Next, please. For the literature review, there are many concepts of competitiveness under the UK transport and trading. The competitive need for the enterprise as the competent to produce right goods at the right price and at the right time, which is equivalent to meeting customer requirement with the higher productivity and higher efficiency than other, and so on. Next, please. The article uses many research methods such as synthesized, statistical, analytical, competitive methods, etc. This method frequently used in research and ensure the reliability of research content. Next, please. Yes, for the research results case study of Transco, we can focus on 4 factors: transport volume, turnover, staff situation, and salary policy. Next, please. The first factor is situation of transport volume. You can see in the line graph, the total transport volume of Transco is around 500,000 to 600,000 tons from 2016 to 2018, with the highest point in the 2018. However, under the pressure of COVID-19 pandemic, the total transport volume have fallen significantly from 2019 to 2020 and reached a lowest point of over 350,000 tons in 2020, which is only equal to about 70% of 2019. The sharp degree of transport volume badly affect the competitiveness of Transco companies. Next, please. After that, we will figure out the situation of turnover. As you can see in the table and the bar charts of this slide, the period of 3 first years from 2016 to 2018 shows the stability of Transco turnover. However, under the period of COVID-19 pandemic, by the 2019, the total turnover started to decrease. The total revenue in the 2020 bottomed out at only over 100,000 million, which marks the lowest point in the 5 recent years. The sum of Transco turnovers have fallen significantly, which had a harmful effect on the competitiveness of Transco companies. Next, please. For the staff situation, the quantity of employees of Transco remained unchanged for 2 years, 2017 and 2018. But, however, the period from 2019 to 2020 under the COVID-19 pandemic witnessed a considerable decline in the figure of the workers of Transco. The number of crew decreased from 68 to 52 people. The decline of the employee of Transco lead to the reduce the quality and the quantity of company staff, which weaken its competitiveness. Next, please. The last thing is salary policy. Under the pressure of COVID-19 pandemic and the difficult business consideration, Transco have forced to cut down every salary. Meanwhile, foreign enterprise accept to pay an attractive salary. They decide to increase from 30 to 40% of salary and have a more benefit for seafarer. The condition of crew recruitment become easier. Therefore, more officials and seafarers terminate their contract and move to foreign shipping line to pursue higher income level. It is more difficult for the company to compete with foreign ones. Next, please. After aforementioned analysis, we conclude that the COVID-19 pandemic has caused many difficulties for Vietnam shipping company with specific case of Transco. The impact of this pandemic considerably reduced the transport volume and shipping turnover of company. On the other hand, it led to complicated issues related to office staff and seafarer. A wide range of sudden problems makes Transco company partly confused and weaken its competitiveness. Author would like to make some solution in improving the competitiveness of Transco with a dream of overcome challenges of COVID-19 pandemic. Next, please. We have 3 solutions. The first solution is that Transco should concentrate on enhancing the competitiveness of its fleet to redirect to the potential domestic and regional markets. find two-way shore of cargo to conduct time charter activity. The second solution is that recruit and training new workers, strengthen cooperation with human resources provider, participate in job fairs, seminar, and career talks with young people. And the last solution is that Chanco should deal with the seafarer problem, motivate and encourage seafarer being stuck in ship, economic support for sea on shore, active register and priority vaccination for crew and officer. Next, please. It is the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for your attention. If you have any question, feel free to let us know.
Okay, thank you, Hong Ban. Thank you for your presentation, even though there is some technical difficulties. Okay, any questions? Please raise your hand or leave your message in the chatting box. Okay, since there is a very tight schedule, since there is very tight schedule, I cannot accept any more questions. There is some difficulties. Okay, thank you.
Yes, we do not hear you.
Yeah, okay, please, yeah.
Good afternoon. My name is Phan Anh from the Korean National Maritime and Ocean University. And firstly, thank you very much for the analysis about the effects of the COVID-19 to the maritime economics and seafarer as well. And I saw in the last night about some of the problems that seafarer face up about in the COVID-19 time. So can you giving more about the problems that seafarer face up in the period of the COVID-19 pandemic? Thank you.
Professor Hong Ban Nguyen, did you catch the point of the question?
I'm sorry, we cannot. We have lost of the signals. Can you repeat
Yeah.
again, please?
So my question is, could you please giving more information about the problems that seafarers face up in the period of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yes, thank you for your question. Yes, there are many difficulties for the seafarer in the period of COVID-19 pandemic. Firstly, the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted the seafarer training process. So therefore, the seafarer must work on the ship over time, which makes the seafarer become tired, exhausted, and overloaded, and they extremely homesick, and the stay in the ship for long time make the seafarer lack the social communication and the medical health care. So they are lose the belief in life. Yes, the second is when the young people see the bad situation and the pessimistic situation when seafarer working on the boat, they feel nervous and they do want to choose the maritime major to study. So the shipping line in Vietnam face to the shortage of labor force. Thirdly, it is also the serious matter for the crew on the shore. Meanwhile, many seafarers being stuck in the ship, the crew on the shore also have many difficulties because they face to the unemployment situation. They don't have a train to work, and they don't have income to support themselves and support their family. Moreover, they must wait for a long time. This is the end of my answer. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for the question and answer. Okay, let's move to next presentation. Now, the next presenter is lecturer Hwang Chi-kung from Vietnam Maritime University about the impact of seaport logistics service development. Okay, lecturer Hwang Chi-kung, the floor is yours. You can start now.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. I'm Hoàng Chí Cương from Faculty of Management Finance, Vietnam Maritime University. So first of all, I would like to express my acknowledgement to the host university, National Korea Maritime and Ocean University, and the province that hosts the international conference. So allow me to present our research title, Impacts of Seaport Logistics Service Development and Some Other Factors on Haiphong Export, an approach through vector outer regression and Granger causality test. Did research with my co-authors, Mr. Chairman of the PhD candidates from Vietnam Maritime University. Next slide, please. So today's presentation will include 5 main sections. The first is introduction. The second is a brief literature review. The next is a model justification and data set, research results, and conclusion. Next slide, please. So first I would like to talk about the introduction. So you know that seaport logistics services are business activities serving for the sea transport in import and export trading for the purpose of making a profit. Export is the exchange of goods and services between many countries in the world, and seaport can be deemed to be a great way for foreign trade, which facilitates the smooth export and import of countries. And Haiphong is the third largest port city in the countries located in the northeast of Vietnam. At the moment, Haiphong has a favorable position for the development of seaport system. And at the moment, Haiphong has about nearly 40 seaports in Haiphong cities. So the verification of the relationship between the development of seaport logistics services and export has both theoretical and practical significance in proposing the solutions to develop the seaport logistics system in Haiphong City. This is to support for the city export in the coming years. Next slide, please. So you can see the map of the Haiphong. You can see many seaports that locate in the downstreams of Cẩm rivers. You can see many ports here. We have many international airports, for example, like international container terminals, and we are building 2 other terminals within the project of Haiphong International Gateway Ports. So currently the capacities for loading and unloading cargo to the seaport system in Haiphong is about 130 million tons per year. Next slide, please. The second section is a brief literature review. In the world, there is a number of studies that have mentioned the relationship between logistics development and the international trade. For example, Nuzi et al. Rarakis, Shalin, Summit, and Just, etc. And they have found the relationship between the development of seaport logistics services and the international trade of many countries in the world. Domestically, a number of studies have also mentioned the development of seaport in Haiphong. For example, they focus on the development of logistic human resources, or they focus on the promotion and cooperation in freight transport in ASEAN countries. For example, some authors like Nguyễn Thanh Thủy 2009 and other authors. However, we have done a survey related to a brief literature review, but we find no research that mentioned the development of seaport logistics services and the export of Haiphong cities. So to ensure the originality and significance of the research, this paper will employ vector outer regression model and Granger causality test to examine the possible relationship between seaport logistics service development together with other factors and the export of Haiphong cities. Next slide, please. So section 3 illustrates the model justification and data sets. So we employ the 2-dimensional VAR model as following in the formula 1A and 1B you can see on the slide. And we also employ the Granger causality test that expresses the relationship between variable X and variable Y. That can be proved with the use of the Granger causality test. This is the name of econometrics and Clive Grangers. And from employing the causality test, we form the equation 1C and equation 1D you can see on the slide, in which M is the largest lag length for which the lag value of the variable X has been proved significantly statistically significant. And to have data for the research, we also employ the time series data from 1990 to 2020. So you can see more in the details articles. Next slide, please. The following are some hypotheses in our research. The first hypothesis is that the developing seaport logistics services will increase Haiphong export. The second hypothesis is that an increase in implemented foreign direct investment capital in Haiphong City will increase the Haiphong export. The next hypothesis is that an increase of the exchange rate between US dollar and Vietnam đồng will increase Haiphong export. The fourth hypothesis is that an increase in Haiphong gross regional domestic product will increase Haiphong export. And the last hypothesis is that an increase in the population of Haiphong will increase Haiphong export. We propose the following hypothesis just because we based on the theory of economic. Just because when you develop the seaport logistics services that will support for the export of the countries and also import, but in this research we focus on the export. And when the increase of the foreign direct investment capital will also increase the Haiphong export, just because in Vietnam in general and in Haiphong in specific, half of the export and import at the value of the foreign invested enterprises. So we propose the following hypothesis as you can see on the slide. So next slide, please. So the section 4 mentioned the research results. The first is that you can see an overview of the seaport development in Haiphong export. So figure 1 expresses the investment capital in seaport system in Haiphong City during 1990 and 2020s. So you can see an upward trend of the investment capital in seaport system in Haiphong cities. And up to now, there are some 7.5 billion USD invested in the seaport system in Haiphong City. Next slide, please. So figure 2 illustrates the export value of Haiphong in the period from 1990 to 2020s. So in this figure, you also witness the an upward trends of the export of Haiphong cities. In 2020, total value of Haiphong export reached to about 20 billion USD. So as our hypothesis, we predict that the development of seaport logistics services in Haiphong City will promote for the Haiphong export. So we will employ the VAR model and Granger causality test to examine this relationship. So next slide, please. So you can see in this figure, this figure expresses the table that include the results of estimation using the VAR model. So the first equation, you can see that the dependent variable is the export of Haiphong cities, and independent variable is investment capital, exchange rate, population, GDP growth, and foreign invested capital. With the results, you can observe that the first 3 variables, the investment, capital, exchange rate, and population, are significant at 5% level. So we can conclude that the export of Haiphong will be affected by the investment capital to seaport system in Haiphong and the increase of the exchange rate between US dollar and Vietnam đồng or the devaluation of Vietnam đồng. The next is that the increase of population in Haiphong City will promote the export of the city just because when the population increase, the labor force will increase. So maybe theoretically they will produce more products, and this is a chance for Haiphong to export more to international market. So next slide, please. So in the previous slide and this slide prove that the relationship between we can find the evidence that there is a relationship between the export of Haiphong and the increase of the investment capital, the population, and the exchange rate between Vietnam đồng and the USD and Vietnam đồng. And we also find the relationship between the investment capital and the export of Haiphong. So we can conclude that the relationship between the export of Haiphong and the investment for the development of seaport logistics is a bidirectional relationship. Next Next slide, please. Okay. This is, so the result is that the hypothesis 1, hypothesis 3, and hypothesis 5 are supported, and hypothesis 2 and hypothesis 4 are not supported. Next slide, please. So this is the conclusion. The empirical results show that the development of seaport logistics and services and the export value of Haiphong have a bidirectional relationship, as I mentioned above. And the policy implication from our research is that, firstly, Haiphong should perfect and develop its logistics services system that a seaport that will help promote the city export. Secondly, Haiphong should increase, the increase in export will also lead to the city need to develop seaport logistics services. And when we increase the export, it means it will increase the job for workers, improve their income, and reallocate resources efficiently and have economic growth. The next slide, please. And in our research, we also propose some suggestions for Haiphong City in the coming years. First is that Haiphong should commit the plan for the development of Haiphong seaport logistics system. Just because when you build more terminal or seaport in Haiphong City, we have to base on the plannings for the development of seaport in Haiphong cities. Second is that Haiphong should improve the transport infrastructure connecting with Haiphong seaport. Just because some road to seaport system in Haiphong now, sometimes we face with the traffic jam in Ras Sabah. So when we improve the transport infrastructure, we will reduce the time needed for connecting with the seaport system in Haiphong cities. With this will reduce the opportunity cost for transportation. The next is that Haiphong should increase the foreign direct investment capital in the seaport system in Haiphong. Just because we can attract more foreign investors with modern technology so that they can use modern technology to exploit the seaport system in Haiphong well. The fourth is that Haiphong also need to train and develop or improve the quality of logistic human resources for the cities. And Vietnam Maritime University is also a university in Vietnam that trains the logistic human resources for not only Haiphong City but also whole Vietnam and in the world. So I hope that in the near future we will offer a high quality logistic human resources for the world. And number 5 is that Haiphong should focus on promoting the administrative reform, especially the reform of administrative procedures. This is to cut down many unnecessary papers. And finally, Haiphong enterprises themselves must improve their competitiveness in the international market in terms of price, qualities, and feature. And also focus on polishing the brands to increase the awareness of customers all over the world. So once again, thank you very much for your listening. So if you have any comments or questions, please let me know. I'm willing to answer the question to perfect our research. So once again, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Hwang Chi-kung, for your valuable presentations, including 6 suggestions. I'm sorry, I'm afraid I can accept only one short question due to the time limitations. Any questions from floor or from online? If no, I have one small question, Mr. Hwang Chi-kung.
Yes. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes. The investment capital to Haiphong Port has been increased very dramatically for last 10 years from 2012. My question is, what are the main source of investment? Is it FDI?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. So the main source of capital for investment in Haiphong seaport system is come from the state-owned enterprises. As you know, that for example, like we had international container terminal, this port use the capital from Tân Cảng Corporation. So Tân Cảng is a state-owned enterprise in Vietnam. But within this project, we also call the capital from foreign partners. So with the case of Lake Huyện, we also call the capital from not only domestic source but also international source. But following the plan of Vietnam Maritime Administration in the coming years, we need about $10 billion to invest in seaport system in Vietnam. And two-thirds of them we will call from foreign investor. Just because foreign investor, they have capacities in terms of offering the capitals, and they also have modern technology, for example, digitalization in the seaport system. So we can enjoy both the foreign capital and maybe we can use the modern technology of foreign investor to exploit many seaport in Vietnam better than the domestic company. As you know that, just because some domestic company, the technology is quite limited, so we have to call the capital from foreign investor.
Okay,
Thank you
thank
very
you.
much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Fang. Professor Tai Chang-Lun, how are you? Nice to meeting you on this
nice to meet
on
you,
this
Professor
occasion.
Park.
Yes.
Long time no see. Yeah.
Yeah. So floor is yours. Please go ahead.
Okay, I will. Yeah. Should I share the slide or the slide was shared from the?
Can you control your slide at your side?
Yeah, let me control my slide just a moment. I think okay. So, can you see my slide?
Oh yes, I can see.
Yeah. Okay, you can see. Okay.
Yeah.
My presentation topic is about a review on the service innovation of container terminals. Okay. So I'm from National Taiwan Ocean University. Because since the containerization of shipping in the 1956, and a lot of people try to do some innovation to improve the container shipping operation. So now I try to review this endeavor. They'll try to improve the operation efficiency of the container shipping, and then I also try to use a model, we call it TRIS model, to check whether this innovation to match with the TRIS model. TRIS model is a model who suggests us to do systematic innovation. Okay, so we can see after the containerization, the application of the containerization in shipping, I think some people do try to come up with a hatch cover-less container ships. I believe some of them do have heard about this or even have seen this vessel before, right? Okay, the philosophy is like when we have a container cargo on board, right? If we have on-deck container cargo, it takes a lot of time to do the lashing, to fastening the container above the cargo hold. Okay, so it takes a lot of time. So one smart German gentleman, he tried to propose and design a hatch coverless container ships. We know container ship, we had to have the cellular guide, right, under the cargo hold. And this gentleman proposed, they tried to have the cellular guide above, from the bottom of the cargo hold to above the deck, to above the ship's main deck. So that all the container just can slide into the cellular guide. So we don't have to fastening, we don't have to do lashing. So that we can save a lot of time. In addition, we can also cut down the steel welding, the labor cost, the loading, unloading cost. Okay, so this is indeed a smart idea, right? And then also, this idea then come out real ships. And this ship is operated by North-Asia 9. Okay, and this ship do come to Asia before. I saw this ship 20-something years ago in Kaohsiung, when it first arrived Kaohsiung. And it's indeed a smart idea, but it doesn't become very popular nowadays, right? I believe so, right? Okay, we rarely see this type of ships in the major port. Okay, so I asked one of my EM-based student who is a senior manager in Evergreen 9, and he tried to find out the reason, the rationale, why it failed behind this perfect idea, why it is, why can I say it failed? This ship still operates, but it's not so popular nowadays. Okay, and the second innovation is like this one. We call it the Tandem Key Claim. Okay, in the old day, when I was still a seaman, right, on the round the world service container ships, the key claim only have one spreader, but nowadays we have two spreader, okay, operated by one key claim, right? So this one become very popular, right? This is also an innovation, try to cut down the loading, unloading time for the container ships. And also, the other design is like this one. Sorry, I should narrow it down. So the other design is like this, right? This is the duck type birds. Okay. Normally when we have the duck, it's only normally when we have the container birds, right? It is a key birds. Okay. Also probably is a jetty, right? But this duck, something like a dry duck, right? So one Greek gentleman, right? He proposed this idea. When the ship come in, when the container ship come in, bird get into the dock, then they can offloading and unloading the cargo from both sides, so which can reduce the cargo loading time. Okay, so we know the container shipping now, especially nowadays, right? Time is money. The charter hire is so high for the container ships, right? So this is a brilliant idea as well, right? But you see, the only Paul employee this idea is Paul of Amsterdam, right? Okay, so we want to understand the rationale why it's not so popular, okay, behind this such perfect idea, okay, such perfect idea. And I also try to use the model we call trees. Trees originally is come from a gentleman who worked in the Russia before 1990. It was still the USSR, United Soviet Russia. Okay, so this gentleman for the US in the USSR in the patent office. You know, some people with some smart idea come with some good product, right? They want to have intellectual property right, right? Also, they want to have the patent. And this gentleman was the one who responsible to send this product to review whether they are qualified to get a patent. Okay, so after he worked for the USSR patent offices for 20 or 30 something years, he come out a doer. How the product can get the patent? Okay, so he come with a table like this one. We call it trees matrix. And when the tree matrix is like they have 39 lure here, right? In the horizontal axis and the vertical axis, they have improvement features. This is worsen features, right? You want to keep some feature not become worse, but you still want to improve the other feature, right? So you have to do some practice, right? You have to come up with some idea. And this one, the green number, right? These are idea. 15, 8, 29, 34, these are idea. So the idea is like this one. Okay, so they give us some rough pattern, a rough direction. If you want to solve some dilemma, you want to solve some difficult problem, right? And you probably can come up with idea. This good idea, you can get a patent. You can have the intellectual property. Okay, so and the solution is here. How can we solve this dilemma? You want to improve one thing and without the other future become worse, right? Okay, so here we come out this this gentleman come out after long-term observation. He comes some good idea. So show 40 approach probably we can do, right? Okay, so I borrow this tree matrix to analyze this innovation, whether they meet these rules, okay, proposed by the Russian gentleman, okay. And this model, they call it TRIS. TRIS in Russian wording means a series of innovation, okay, series of invention or innovation. Okay, so for example, I come out like this idea like, I should move this one. Okay, for example, we want to, I cannot see. We want to solving contradiction, right? So, so I have to move this one. Okay, we want to improving productivity without worsening weight of stationery, right? This is number 2 is worsening. Okay, number 2, right? And number 39 is here, right? So there are some approach here. We can do, we can take approach 28, 27, 15, or number 3. So we go to check this one, 28, okay, 39, right? So example, I go to previous pages, 28, right? So 28 is some come out idea here, 14, 20, 28. Sorry, I have some good idea here, okay. Then with this approach, and then he come out some idea, 28 means machinery substitution, a mechanic substitution. Okay, so we want to improving the loading, unloading speed, right? Without worsening the reliability of loading, unloading, right? So probably number 28 tell us we can do mechanic substitution. So this is a very broad direction, right? Okay, so that's the reason why some people come out to change the machinery, right? So which machinery should we change? Of course, should be loading, unloading machinery. So come out a tandem, okay, tandem spreader, okay. So this is one example, right? Show we how to do the systematic innovation, okay, in the container shipping industry, especially in the container terminal, okay. So I follow like the same token, right? Like the same idea. So I analyze this one, the hedge coverless container ships, and the indent, the dock, okay, for the ships, indent berths, right? Indented berths, okay. So basically, this is the idea. So and some idea that you come here, right? Sorry, this one, right? We will solve the control, improve speed without worsening reliability. The number 11 says beforehand cushion, right? And what is beforehand cushion, right? So I tell you like this one. When we want to loading the container, we use 2 stepwise. The first one come to here, a platform. Use one spreader, another spreader, right? Relay, take over, loading. So that's what we're doing now, right? You uploading here, and the other spreader offload. So there are 2 steps.
Sorry, Dr. Lin. Dr. Lin, sorry, please hurry up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is some idea like this one. Okay. So that's the end. I just show you the idea. Okay. That's all of my presentation. Yeah.
Okay.
Professor Park, this is the end of my presentation.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Lin. Thank you for the introduction of the theory of inventive problem-solving techniques. Any comment or questions from the floor or online?
Yeah, I believe it's quite difficult to have question because tree model is not like popular. So within 10 or 15 minutes, right? It's difficult to let anybody know the idea. But if you want to know the idea, it's quite easy because just typing trees, right? They even have a trees journal. So you can follow their kind of instruction. You can apply it in your daily life. Yeah. Okay, this is the major purpose when I want to introduce the service innovation in the container terminal and also introduce the trees model to all of our audience.
All right. Thank you very much for
You are very well.
Yeah, for the good examples of innovative and interesting techniques and methods. Yet all innovative examples you suggested could save port times. It is good for the ship owners and operators, but it may not good for the seafarers. It's a joke. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah. Seafarer.
Thank you,
They don't
Dr.
have.
Lin.
But anyhow, nowadays under COVID-19, they cannot get anywhere except stay on board, right? Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Lin.
Yes, thank you, Chairman.
Yeah, thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
let me introduce the last speaker. I hope all the technical problems should be solved. Ms. The lecturer Min Pung Guen from Vietnam Maritime University again. Okay, floor is yours.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm sorry for the technical problem. I think it's okay now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure. I'm Nguyễn Minh Truong from Vietnam Maritime University, Hải Phòng, Vietnam, and it's my pleasure to be here today to present about my article about electronic bill of lading for voyage charter parties, Vietnamese participant perspective. Next, please. And here is the outline that I will present today. Next, please. As you know that nowadays, the traditional commercial transactions have been significantly replaced by the electronic methods, together with the development of paperless document system. In there, the electronic bill of lading that we call EBL later has reflected many advantages. However, this e-tool still not accepted widely by the market. And in Vietnam, sea transportation economics has been invested and developed as a spearhead economic sector. Vietnamese fleet has been at the fourth in ASEAN and 30 in the world in terms of deadweight tonnage. However, the awareness of the Vietnamese participants about EBLs has still very limited. So I think it's very important to construct a theoretical framework and collect a viewpoint from various participants around applying this electronic tool. And my article aimed to contribute the opinions of Vietnamese shipping companies and traders also about the applications of EBL in the international tram shipping. Next, please. About the literature review, I will focus on the main feature of EBL, legal status and principal obstacle while applying. And next, please. About the main features of EBL, the most importantly, an EBL needs to have a functional and legal equivalent as a traditional BL. It means that EBL have to guarantee three main functions as follows: a receipt of the cargo, the evidence of the contract, and the cargo possession. An EBL could save the time and cost for all parties to issue, transfer, and store. An EBL platform provides very high level of technical and physical security that avoid the disclosure of business secrets. Next, please. Next, please. Sorry. About the legal status of an EBL, right now we have three main international legal rules related to the EBL. Firstly, the UN Central Model Law on Electronic E-commerce that recognizes the legal status of electronic documents and transactions. However, it's not a mandatory instrument as the conventions. It depends on the adoption of explanation. Secondly, in 1990, the Committee Maritime International published the CMI rules for the electronic bill of lading that govern the transactions related to the EBLs. And finally, the Rotterdam rules. The chapter 3 of these conventions include 3 articles about electronic transport record, and it paves the way for use of electronic bill of lading in the future. previous, please. Yeah, and I want to tell more about the principal challenges while applying an EBL. Firstly, an EBL needs to build on a technical framework with high confidentiality and security. It means that at any time, there is only one original build exists and controlled by one party, others not allowed to interfere with the control of the EBL. Secondly, the adoption of such technology in the international scope by abundant participants has been relatively slow due to the conservative attitudes. The user feels confident and safety when using the traditional method. Most importantly, the legal uncertainty of the electronic transferable record is most difficult obstacle slowing down the application process. As mentioned above, it depends on the adoption of each national legislation and also depends on the negotiation in the contract. Next, please. Yeah, I use the interview method to collect the data from ship broker, ship operator, and Vietnamese trader. And as you see, the main proportions from the ship operator. Next, please. And I will use the collected data to analyze some information as follows. First of all, the types of shipping documents used in Vietnam. Almost all proportions of interview answer rate, they frequently use negotiable bill in tram shipping that the possession of cargo can be delivered to another one by endorsing of the back of the paper bill. Next, please. And the table 1 shows you 4 main problems when used the paper bill. Non-presentation of OBL at the port discharging and change destination, then change destination and information that stated in the original BL. So all of them cause difficulties, risks, take time and cost for all the parties to get the cargo, to take the cargo of the port destinations. Next, please. About the awareness of the Vietnamese participants about electronic alternative, on the interviewees state that they still use the traditional paper bill. Nearly 1/3 of them believe, nearly 2/3 of them believe that EBL just a copy version. Only 1/3, around 30% of experience as ship operator and ship broker optimistically believe that EBL could be used widely in the near future. Next, please. About the obstacle to use the electronic alternative in Vietnamese business, there are 4 main challenges. 100% of respondents think legal framework is not adequate. In Vietnam, there are no laws circulating about the legal status of BL. Trader partner has no legal status of EBL. If the trading partner or the ship owner want to use, they will negotiate it in the contract. Secondly, the trading partner are not ready. The trading partner has no idea, no knowledge about the EBL. So it's very difficult for them. The third challenge is 70% of respondents admitted to not believe in the security of EBL. In the voyage chartering, the volume and the value of the cargo is relatively large. So they feel safer to use the traditional method that already used throughout many centuries. The final factor is IT infrastructure. IT infrastructure in Vietnam, I think is quite ready to apply EBL because you see, all the business use electronic means of communications, and they also have been concerns of information security at the company. So in general, the problem is the legislation and the awareness of user. Next, please. Next, please. In conclusions, the theoretical framework which is constructed in the article, I think will help all the concerned people know clearly about the EBL and about the Vietnamese shipping market. The Vietnamese shipping firm and trader understand somewhat about EBL and its advantages, but the electronic documents have not been applied in Vietnam, in particular due to many obstacles, as mentioned before. So in conclusion, I suggest the creation of the suitable, legal framework should be pursued urgently as a priority matter to apply EBL in the international shipping in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Min Phung Nguyen, for your presentation about the electronic biddable rating issues in the Vietnam. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, one question from the floor. Any question from online? No? Okay.
Hello, I have a question.
Please,
According to you, so what is the most difficult to apply the EBL for the Vietnamese shipping companies? And can you predict the future of the applied EBL for Vietnamese shipping companies?
Okay, thank you very much for your question.
Okay.
I think
Go ahead.
I think the most difficulty to apply EBL in Vietnamese shipping company is a legal system, legal legislation factor, because there is no law related to EBL right now in Vietnam. So all the users are very confused, and they feel not safe, unsafe, unconfident to apply this. So the most difficulty is the legal problem. And about the futures, I think EBL will be the future document, of course. But right now, I cannot pretend how long it will be happen, when it will be happen, when it will be applied widely in the market. I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you for your question and answer. All right. Thank you very much for the 4 presenters. Hong Chi-kwong, Tai Chong-lan, Min Phung Nguyen, and the other person? Yeah, Hong Ban Nguyen. Thank you for your excellent presentations. Okay, thank you very much for the active participation. Thank you.